Hello YouTube, this is your girl Shelly, and this is my channel Shelly is Reeling, where I do movie reactions, trailer reactions, and on occasion, reviews. I just got home from the theater having watched Sinners, and I have thoughts about the film, about its callbacks, about its plot, its acting, how it was shot. I sincerely hope that you are not looking at this until you have actually seen the movie. I've only seen it once, but I know I'm going to see it again. I am just still radiating joy from my screening, which by the grace of God was full of people. I did not see it in IMAX. I saw it in 2D, and that was enough for me. I might go see it for my second viewing in IMAX just so I can see if there's any difference. But it was a good showing, and everyone in there was equally happy to be in that space. We were all enjoying every moment. Theater experiences like that are rare. I'm drawn to that energy, and I'm really, really glad that I saw this movie opening weekend. If you're a cinephile like me, waiting and then having everybody and their mother spill the beans after they've seen it because, yeah, they're happy with the outcome of having seen the film, but inevitably you run into someone who just can't help but give you too much information. I don't usually mind spoilers, but when it's something like this that's getting so much positive traction, it's just for the best that I see it myself. I'm holding on to my notes, so you'll see me look down a couple of times. It's only because I don't want to miss any of the things that I thought were special. The plot is good. The movie itself is over an hour and 45 minutes, but it didn't feel like that. I know that's going to matter to some of you out there, right? We don't like to feel the length of a movie. You won't feel the length of this movie. Every part of this film is justified in its existence. So take that with a grain of salt, depending on how you feel about movies that are over 90 minutes. This one makes use of every minute. And credit scenes. There are post-credit scenes. There are two. The first one I enjoyed immensely. The second one, there were only 4 of us left in the theater to watch. I stayed because I heard all about these credit scenes. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss a thing. And I wanted to stay in that place because I was vibrating after this movie was over. And at one point, there was a moment in this movie where I almost felt my heart leave my chest. That's not hyperbolic or hyperbole to say. I felt something. I knew something was going to happen. There was one shot, right? One long take that told me if he's going to spend a long take on a scene like this, there's going to be something even more spectacular that people have alluded to, that it's probably going to matter more. And it was. These 2 brothers who come down from Chicago, they've obviously been working for some nefarious characters, some shady characters, and they want to create something special back home where they came from. So the idea is that they'll create a juke joint, someplace where people in their community in 1932 Mississippi can come and commune, dance, drink, have after being out in the fields for a long day, working, sharecropping, as a lot of them were. They wanted to create a place, a space for people to feel safe and to relax and unwind. It is a honorable justification for what it is that they did, but they did not come by the means to do so admirably. We don't get the full story, but it's implied. The brothers that Michael B. Jordan plays, I did not see one inkling of one character acting like another. And when I say that, I mean these are 2 very separate beings, very well acted by Michael to make them 2 very different characters. There's a lot of people saying that the breakout in this movie is Miles. I think his name is Miles Canton. No, that's a fallacy to me. Miles does great as Sammy. Miles does great. Miles is definitely a standout. Miles is not the star. Michael B. Jordan makes this movie. Top to bottom, no question about it. I love thinking about him. Sammy's music is transcendent. It does the job of making you feel something. Not to mention Ludwig Goransson, the soundtrack. I felt things in this movie listening to the music that I felt listening to Beautiful Creatures, which is a very similar aesthetic and a very similar vibe. If you have not seen, this movie has a lot in common. And listen, I am not mad at the way that this film sounds. It made me feel so transported. I can't begin to tell you what it felt like to be in that space with all these people who are witnessing this and have them all just kind of, you can see down into the theater and people are doing this. Yeah. I mean, this was a special experience. This was a very rare and special film experience. In terms of themes, the theme of community and belonging are very prevalent here. I couldn't help but notice allusions to other films in this movie. And I also love this movie down for its representation. We get Native Americans, African Americans, Irish Americans, and we get representations of Christianity and hoodoo. And they actually had a hoodoo consultant on this movie. These are things you learn when you watch the credits. Representation being paramount to this director and us being shown how important it was to the plot in every place, how much that meant. Ryan Coogler is not afraid not only to show you the ghosts of the past, but also to leap into the future and to show you the outcomes. And that is probably the source of my favorite post-credits scene. I'm not going to spoil it. What I want to do is just talk about the things that I really did like. So that's what we're going to do. They have literally one night. They go to a guy and they say, hey, we'd like to purchase this space, the old sawmill, in order to create this space for our people. And this dude seems like he's willing, but he also seems like he is nefarious in his intent. And we learn that that is true. What's very clear in hindsight of having watched this movie is that no matter what happened, everyone here was going to die. Just like the menu. It was the last night of their lives. It was the best night of their lives. It was an experience that was curated specifically for them. And in the end, it was the last one that they ever got. One other thing about this movie that I liked were the various callbacks to other horror films. I don't know if you'll catch it, and you can tell me in the comments if you do, but there were allusions to Fright Night. There were allusions to Queen of the Damned. There were allusions to Train to Busan. There's a character who makes a very similar move to what one of the characters in Train to Busan did, because she lost the only family that mattered to her, and she knew who was responsible for that. So she took matters into her own hands, and when given the opportunity, she let the bitches have it. And there's a character whose motivations to the group are certainly not the same as that character in Train to Busan, but her actions certainly speak to it. There's also another scene that really got me. If you've ever seen 1985's Fright Night with Roddy McDowell, William Ragsdale, and Christopher Sarandon, there's a character in that movie called Ed, his name is Evil Ed, that the main character, Charlie, really struggles with because he bullies him, I guess, and he gets bullied in general in school. And when Ed gets confronted by Jerry Dandridge, the vampire in the movie, Jerry doesn't attack him. He reasons with him about his station and place in life and says to him, I know that they make fun of you and they beat you up, but no one's going to do that to you anymore. I'm going to see to that. The nature of a creature to tell its victim that what I'm going to do to you, a child, by taking your life, you're going to thank me for it. You're going to be happy that I did this for you because I'm going to make your life better. Yes, I'm going to take one version of your life, but I'm going to give you another, and it's going to be to your benefit. And there is a character in this movie who does something similar to that. And I kept thinking to myself, wow, that type of emotional manipulation played that well. Good stuff. We have two paramours in this movie. We have one Wunmi Musako, and then we have Haley Steinfeld, who, let's talk about Haley for a minute. Holy smokes. I've never seen her like this, and that makes me so happy. I did not know her heritage until seeing a behind the scenes about this movie, and to realize that that girl is literally passing and has been even under my radar all these years. I've never seen her be so adult and outspoken and forceful and feminine and a woman. This is not a girl. This is a woman who is coming into her own, who is holding space. She is so many wonderful things in this movie that make her performance more of a standout to me than that of Miles. I did not know this side of her. I don't even know if she did, but I know that Ryan saw something and said he can use this girl and he can use her talent and she can surprise, and she did. I saw her do things. I saw her say things that shocked the shit out of me in the best way possible. I can't wait to see more from Haley Steinfeld. I'm super proud of her. There's some heartbreaking kills in this movie. I felt many of them. My heart sank with a couple of them, but there was one or two that actually made me cheer. I clapped along with a couple other people because it wasn't the death that you were more moved by. You were moved by the sacrifice and by the intention. There's one character who, when shit hits the fan, is singularly focused on the thing that they want to do. And even though it means death, they're going to get this done. And they do it. And when they do it, you're not affected in a way that makes you feel sad. You're affected in a way that makes you go, she chose. Oop. This person chose how they were going to go out. They made a choice and they got it done. I think that there's empowerment in choosing when you're in that situation. There's another movie where that happens, in A Quiet Place Day One. I'm so sorry. I'm going to spoil this because I have to make this point. The main character in that film, played by Lupita Nyong'o, is dying of cancer. And instead of letting the cancer take her, because it's going to, she chooses a death for herself. She says, fuck cancer. You don't get to take me. I'm making the choice. You know what other movie or TV show did that? There's a death in that series, Harper's Island, where the killer gets one of the characters has just witnessed her boyfriend be killed on a bridge, and she's standing there on the other side of the bridge, not too far from the killer, who's literally going like this. He's got a knife and he doesn't speak. He just kind of gestures her, come and take this death. And she looks that man in his face as Civil Twilight plays Letters to the Sky. And she looks at that man and she says, you can't have me. And she throws herself off the bridge. It's a moment where you go, yeah, because she's not going to let that man take her life. She's choosing her way out. And that's exactly what a character in this movie does. The other character that does it, you get the sense that this person has lived their life and he has come to the conclusion that if he can save someone at the beginning of theirs by making this sacrifice, that he's going to do it. And he decides to put himself in the line of fire. He wanted to survive, but he chose someone younger with promise to protect. He chose someone younger with promise to protect and defend, and gave his life for it. That's not sad. That's sacrifice. And I get it. That also happens in Train to Busan. There are moments in this movie that remind me of Queen of the Damned. There's a moment where Akasha comes to Lestat's rescue. And after she has him alone and she's trying to talk to him about why she chose to come to him, she said, "You're bold, like your music. You live your life in the open as I did long ago." And that's what Sammy's doing. He's defying his father, a preacher, and he is going to forge his own path, regardless of what it is that his father says that he should do. And he lives his life in the open. There's a great scene where Michael B. Jordan is in the car with Sammy. They're driving to a location, and he's like, "Go ahead and play me something," as they're driving. When Sammy starts to strum on that guitar and sing, there's this great moment that everybody in the audience actually called out what the line was going to be. He says to him, "Ho! We gonna make some money." And you can sense that there's a realization that this boy is going to be something, and it's going to become this thing that creates joy and harmony and happiness, and they are going to win because of this concept that they are creating. It's such a wonderful moment because you can see hope. Hope is happening in that moment, in that car, and you can just sense that they knew that they were at the start of something big. But at the same time, Sammy's gift is the thing that gets them in trouble. It's not like he did it on purpose. He simply had a gift to levitate and galvanize the ancestors with his sound. And it's true. We create a sense of something when we put ourselves into our music. And Sammy's music is just that kind of conduit, that it brought the evil with it. I can't blame him for being who he was and his gift. I'm just sad that there's a moment where he realizes that the thing that's happening is because of the music that he played. And it's especially devastating because the bad guy, Remick, played by Jack O'Connell, actually tells him that. And he tells him, "If you come outside, we'll let your friends go." And it's heartbreaking to see Sammy actually surrender in that moment. He actually tries to go outside and give himself up. Two characters try that. Two of them actually try to surrender themselves to save the group. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's also heartbreaking because you see that they want to save, but they know that it's a false sense of hope. These people are going to come in here. They want to bring them in. They want to bring them into this community. And they're saying, "No, we don't want it." And they're saying one way or another, "We're going to get you." That's what's so heartbreaking about this movie. That's the thing I think that broke my heart the most. Between the man who sold them the sawmill being an actual ass Klan member and the vampires that showed up that night, these people were damned from the start. They were never going to go home. They were always going to end up dead, one way or the other. And I am so sad about that. But the film on its whole is about community. It's about the color not being the thing, because this vampire is literally bringing people into his fold. And there's a great moment where you realize that all these people who have been freshly turned, they all know the same Irish song that this Irish vampire is now singing. And they are dancing and singing the song and harmonizing and playing instruments. They created their own little communal experience outside of the juke joint, singing and dancing and playing songs that they only just learned because of him that night. Surreal. I love this movie. I might even react to it. Maybe I won't go see it again for a second time on IMAX. Once was enough. I got enough. I will react to this movie on my channel. I cannot wait to share with you my thoughts as this film goes on. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of violence. The gore was not as bad as I thought it would be. I didn't have to cover my eyes. I wasn't taken aback. I did push myself into my chair one time. but nothing too terrible. I mean, you see worse stuff in 30 Days of Night. You see worse stuff in Queen of the Damned. You see worse stuff in Fright Night, Dusk Till Dawn. You see worse. This movie has a lot in common with From Dusk Till Dawn. That's for damn sure. A lot more violence in Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. This movie, it's a little bit, it's a little visceral, but nothing that you would be like, oh my God, it's not that kind of movie. You'll be fine. If you can get through any of the movies I just named without having to hide your eyes, you'll be fine. I think what's more affecting emotionally about this film is just watching people that you care about die. That's what got me. I cared about every one of these characters. The establishing of these characters at the beginning of the movie, where we first get to meet the brothers, we first get to meet Sammy, we see what their lives are like and why they're motivated to go to this place and do this thing. We meet these families. We meet them. We see Smoke and Stack interact with people. We learn how good Smoke is with being the responsible brother. We see how Stack, even though he may not be his brother, he's got a sense of emotional heart and duty and is actually really good at negotiation. So we see he has facility and he's a worthwhile character as well. You're never rooting for any of these people to die. You want them to live. You just know that they're not going to, and that makes it hurt even more when the inevitable comes to pass. There's more laughs than I expected. Quite a few chuckles in the theater. It was nice to see some levity in the moments. What's really a great scene, I will talk about it a little bit, is when they first realize what they're dealing with. They don't shun the people, but they tell them, you know what? Party's over. Y'all got to get out of here because we know something is happening and we don't want you all to be a part of it. Unfortunately, they literally just kind of damned all those people too by doing that, but they didn't realize. But when they first get the first inkling is when they're standing at the door and someone who was already in the room earlier is now saying, invite me in. And everybody in the theater knows. But Woonmi is the only one who gets that something she's known from her past is coming to their doorstep. And the conversations between all of the characters with this person on the outside are really hysterical because they're like, dude, you were just in here like in and out all night. Just come in. And he's like, that wouldn't be polite now, would it? And it's like, the back and forth between the characters, everybody's just like, dude, why don't you just come in? He's like, no, I can't do that. No, dude, seriously, just come in. No, I can't do it. Seriously, dude, you've been in and out all night. Just come in. It's like, no. And it's like, okay, with every no, it becomes more and more clear that something is amiss. And they've already seen one of their number has been just destroyed. So there was absolutely no reason for them to do anything but be skeptical, and it's just funny to watch it play out. It's very funny. Yeah, I don't want to say much more. I really just wanted to get some thoughts out about what I noticed, what I enjoyed, how much I loved how this movie made me feel. Ryan Coogler is going to be making movies for decades. That is not hyperbolic. This dude is special. He's special and he understands that representation matters. He's gifted in how he creates his films, the spaces that he chooses. We all know that he knows how to shoot a film as well. Like he gave us a tutorial about why certain film stocks are better than others, why you'll get a better experience from certain kinds of films and how they're shot. The man knows what the game is and he puts his self on display. His talent is front and center in this movie. There are shots in this film that I want a still of so I can hang it up on my wall. Yeah. You can tell that he had so much to say with what little time he had in this movie to say it. Everything about this film is thoughtful. The location, the actors, the plot, the themes, the colors. It's not by happenstance that certain things that happen at the end of this movie happen and what it's reflective of. I'm thinking specifically about the baptism scene. You'll know what I mean when you see it. It happens near the end. And there's a really great comeuppance scene that I'm glad they put in. And I will say that if you are at all affected like I was from this movie, you might cry. And it will be involuntary. I'm not sure where it will happen for you. For me, it happened in 2 places. I didn't bawl. I didn't weep. It wasn't tears. It was just, I felt them and I couldn't help myself. And when I was driving home, I actually had to talk myself down from crying because I felt something so powerful in how this movie made me feel. It's a rare experience indeed. I wish it for everyone. Please go see this movie. Please tell people about it. And when it comes out on VOD, we're all going to watch it again. And I will do a reaction to it on my channel. I hope that you enjoyed this reaction to Sinners, Ryan Coogler's latest film. I hope that you will have a great day, week, weekend, whatever it is that you are watching this. And as I always say, be the reason that someone smiles today.